Hi everybody, Eddie Vegas here with yet another in-depth video review, this time of a 4X space game. You know I love these things. Called StarDrive from Zero Sum Games. I have the impression this is like one guy with maybe a music guy and an artist guy helping him. Independent developer who's made, in my opinion, a pretty good game. We're going to get right into the meat of it, so let's get started. First thing you want to do is get yourself a new game, and here's the new game screen. You have a choice of 8 races, each with differing characteristics, or if you like, you can select a pre-made race and adjust the parameters that take into effect the type of race that you'll be using. So you can kind of custom make your own race. Up here, just in case you didn't see it because it's pretty small, is being able to change the parameters of your game. You can have abundant, crowded, or rare solar systems. And here's the number of opponents. Apparently, they're going to add. Oh yes, I forgot to add. This game is in beta for the next month at this time of recording this. And so they're going to add another version where apparently you try to get to the center of the universe, but I'm not going to talk about it because I don't really know. Pacing, this has to do with how slow the game is, and here's your difficulty settings. So don't miss this because I did at the very beginning. You can also click and rename your civilization. You can also choose the kind of flag that you want, and you can also choose the color of your flag. So that's it. Now let's go ahead and get into a sample game and see what happens. All right. So this is what you'll see when you first begin the game. We have your home planet here, right there, Eddie 1-3. You also have a space station, and you also have a beginning ship, which I have set to system defense duty. You have various options you can select from here, or you can right-click and get a radial menu. Here we go, relinquish control, which means that Perseverance is going to be kind of an automated ship. You can also tell them to go exploring to defend the Empire, which is what I'm going to tell them to do. And now it says system defense duty. So you have that, or you can also run it from here, and this button here is pretty interesting. Order selected ship to retreat to the nearest shipyard for resupply and repair. You'll be using this probably a lot. So there's that. As I zoom out, we can start to see that in fact the game world is pretty vast, as you can tell from the mini map down here, and this is a small map. It's not a really big map. By clicking on the sun, you can get a quick overview of everything that's happening in that solar system, including all the planets and whether they're habitable or not. And a click on one of the planets that you have, and a double click will actually take you to the colony overview. Here is where you're going to be building ships and troops and buildings as you research them. I have already gotten off to a good start here by building another unarmed scout to explore even faster. I've also built 2 Space Marines. The Space Marines are there to explore anomalies, and I'm going to explain that because I didn't understand that at the very beginning to help you get through the game. And there are 2 small transports on the way. These transports will automatically ship colonists and goods from your planets that have excess to your fledgling planets that are just getting going. And so I've gone ahead and built a couple of those. Let's go ahead and talk about the automation. I suggest for a new player to check Auto Explore. To auto build projectors. Projectors are things that will expand your territory and give a speed boost to your ships that are traveling either warp drive or whatever within the space corridors. And automatic freighters, I would just go ahead and let it check, because you'll want to probably be concentrating on other aspects of the game at the very beginning. And auto ground combat, the computer seems to do a decent job, so just go ahead and check all that. On the other hand, I suggest that you colonize yourself, because the AI will colonize planets that are not really all that good. So there's that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the different screens. We have the shipyard up here, which is going to get its own section because it's really, really important. This is where you design your own ships. The Empire screen gives you an overview of your planets, all the planets you own. We just own one because we just started the game. The diplomacy screen allows you to interact with the other civilizations, and you can also train and hire new spies here. And they have a variety of missions that they can accomplish. For the moment, we're just going to go ahead and train Nathan Ethan and give him a few more points. And down here, these two buttons you probably won't use. However, this one here is the deep space building, which allows you to build those subspace projectors that are going to allow you to expand your territory. Although the computer in this case is going to be doing it for me. Here's a list of all known planets. Here's the ship list for your empire, all the ships that you possess. And this fleet screen is so important, I'm going to dedicate an entire section to it because it's really important, and that just about covers it. Now let's get into a little bit of gameplay. All right, here we are a little bit later. I've gone ahead and colonized Ceylon and Wellerk here, and to expand my empire, I have decided to send an attack fleet to this solar system because there are some juicy planets here. And now we can check out a little bit of combat. So let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit and check our ships out and check out a little bit of fighting, because the eye candy, I tell you what, one of the things I really like about this game is the eye candy, because so many 4X games have similar mechanics that it just seems like a lot of times, like just how the game looks is going to influence a lot of whether I like the game. I know that seems a little bit shallow, but at the same time, you really definitely do want some eye candy in this game. I think for an independent developer, I think it really does deliver. Let's go ahead and check out some graphic effects and some fighting. Now, granted, this is a small battle among small... I'm glad I have my flagship, though. And my flagship has shields, which are holding up against the fighting. However, they're getting hit. We are basically trying to take out the creeps. Basically, I call them creeps from Blizzard. There are creeps in certain solar systems that will basically slow you down in terms of colonizing. Usually the creeps are in planets or in solar systems that have good planets, so you'll want to make an army quickly, assuming that you find some creeps in a solar system that you want to colonize, and clear the creeps out first. Now, one thing I didn't know, which I'm going to show you right now, is here's my ship, and by hitting tab we can see the components and the arcing fires and even the range of the shields on my ship. These are the components that have been installed in my ship, and we're going to take a look at these components in the shipyard. We can see actually that the fighting is going on, and that this enemy ship shield is still holding up quite strong, and that nothing has been damaged. Meanwhile, let me see if I can find a weaker ship, which I think my ships have gotten wiped out, to tell you the truth, and there's nobody left but my flagship, And now if we zoom in, we can see just a little bit that this area right here now has started to take damage. And all this damage is indeed directional. And it is indeed having to do with whether the gun can fire. For example, I don't know whether you can see it here, but I do have a gun which is now in red, and that means that this gun can no longer fire or has a reduced effectiveness. And my ship is basically taking damage, and I'm probably not going to win this fight. But I did want to kind of show you this because I think this is really cool. And you'll want to do a better job than I did clearing out those creeps, won't you? Here we are a little bit later in the game. I've gone ahead and expanded, managed to wipe out the creeps here in Saint, and have expanded my empire to here. At this point, what I'd like to do is talk about like judging planets, because planets a lot of times are going to be, let me see, where's my planet? I suppose I have it here. Yeah, this is my guy right here. All right. What you're going to be wanting to look at is 3 factors in deciding whether you want to colonize a planet. Now, I have to admit this is kind of a marginal planet here, but that's okay. I feel like I can support it. The first thing is you want to check is the population. It's no sense in colonizing planets that can't grow very big. This guy can't grow very big, but with the discovery of biospheres, I could build a biosphere over here and expand the amount of population. There are quite a few uninhabitable squares here, which means that I could really boost the population quite a bit. You also want to check fertility. This is how apt the planet is to grow food. This planet is not very apt to grow food, and so that's the reason why down here I have set the food production to import. The automated freighters will automatically attempt to deliver food to this colony. As you can see, this colony is not making enough food to support itself, but with the added shipping of the food, it still will be growing here pretty soon. I've just colonized it, actually. The other thing you want to check is richness, and this determines how much production the planet will make. These can all be boosted. For example, the aeroponic farm could probably make this planet very close to self-sufficient in terms of food. The rover bay will increase the amount of production. The spaceport allows you to build ships, and the warehouse will boost the amount of storage there is here. While I'm at it, you'll want to forget to set your main planet, your home planet, to export. And because usually your main planet is going to be a rich source of pretty much everything in the game. And so don't forget to set this to export. The other screen that I wanted to take a look at while I'm here is the technology screen. Here we have all the technologies based with colonization. I have already discovered biospheres. I should be working on something. Scientific foundation is what I'm working on. And I've queued up military outposts, which is going to allow me to build barracks on my other planets. I also have queued up magnetic artillery, which is going to give me railguns, and missile theory, which is going to give me MLRS and small missile launchers. And then eventually down the road, I want to be able to make frigates, which are bigger ships, which means more components and more fun. We also have the energy branch here, all having to do with lasers and shielding and power. The eco-logistics has to do mainly with money, although there's an interesting branch here of xenolinguistics that has to do with the story mission in the game. Physics, we have subspace communication. We also have energy siphon beam and the EMP cannons, antimatter reactor, etc., etc. This is all having to do with an attractor beam. Space weapons here, we have a lot of different things, including conventional torpedoes, electronic countermeasures, missile armor, EMP torpedoes, plasma vectoring, and plasma ordnance. As you can see, for somebody who really gets into space sort of things, this is really great. You also have the possibility to install fighters on your bigger ships, make cruisers, battleships, and Titans. So you can make some really, really, really big ships. Here's the armor branch, and here's the freighter branch, and that pretty much covers the technology. Great technology, great all kinds of cool stuff you can build, EMP cannons, etc., etc. You can board, you can install Marines on your ships and have them board other ships. All kinds of cool stuff here. All right, this is a bit later, and I have expanded my empire even more, as you can see. However, we've got some bad news. The Kilrathi Shogunate has declared war on me. So I'm going to have to build a bigger ship. Fortunately, I've discovered cruiser hulls, and so we're going to take this opportunity to check out the shipyard. This is the shipyard. Each one of these squares here, you can install a component upon it. Each area is rated outside, inside, outside, interior, and engines. Okay, and certain areas can only be installed certain weapons or certain components. Over here we have the energy weapons that I have researched up till now. Here we have the ballistic. These guys require ordnance to fire. These guys require energy to fire, as does the energy beam. Missiles require ordnance, as do bombs. Bombs are to attack planets with, and I also have a plasma weapon, the plasma thrower, which is kind of a flamethrower-ish sort of thing, close range but high damage. To install a component, you click. The areas where you can install it are green. You click, and it's installed. One other thing is that you notice I have zoom. To enable zoom on your game, if you just bought the game, you need to enable the test branch, beta test branch. You go into Steam, properties, betas, and select test branch, and you will get the latest version of the game. The game's updated pretty much since it's in beta every 2 or 3 days. I also want to talk about the ship behaviors, which are on these little dinky buttons over here. This head-on attack runs is good for the smaller ships that are going to be making strafing runs against the bigger ships. This is a good all-purpose setting here. For your bigger ships, a lot of times you're going to be putting fixed mount weapons on the front, and since they cannot rotate, you're going to want your ship to try to rotate so that the forward-facing weapons are facing the target. This setting here is for your longer range weapons, although it's a little bit dangerous. If they are not in range, they will not move to attack the other enemies, and you'll have to move them up manually. You want to make sure that they're in range if you're going to set them on this setting. These two settings here will cause the ship in battle to try to keep the target on its either port or starboard side. This would allow designs where you install several heavier weapons on a certain side of the ship, and in which case the ship would attempt to circle strafe the other ship, keeping its weapons on the side where it's most powerful. And this setting here is for support ships and ships that have no weapons that will try to avoid combat at all possible. The other thing I want to talk about is right down here. You'll want to keep an eye on this. As you install components on your ship, you will see these numbers change. One thing I'd like to point out for new players is that recharge at warp needs to be positive. If it's not positive, your ships will warp until they run out of energy, in which case they'll stop and then they'll start warping again once they have enough energy. If you make sure that recharge at warp is always positive, they will continually warp and never stop. And all these settings here, you will want to, in your design, try to achieve a balance between firepower, shielding, armor, and speed to try to get the most effective weapons platform you possibly can. Another thing I will say is that every ship needs and will not be allowed to be built without a command module. Command modules are very important because they provide a small area of vision and also repair capabilities, which is really important. Your ships will take damage, and when they do, you will want to have some repair capabilities because out of battle, they repair very slowly. Although you can send them back to a base and they will repair more quickly, but it's still, especially with bigger ships, it's quite a long and drawn out process. So you definitely want a powered command module on your ship to make sure that it can repair. And here we have a completed ship. You guys missed all the boring parts. What I elected to do here is install in the front a heavy mount laser beam, but my main weapons are the mass drivers. And also for side protection, I have chosen some flak turrets, and I also have some small little laser beams here. All the rotatable weapons, this is not a rotatable weapon, as neither is this. However, by clicking on arcs, we can see that basically we already can see that my ship is well shielded in the front and not so well shielded in the back, but once again, it's a trade-off. Also, looking at my design, I should have taken my power supplies and stuck them back here where I had some shielding that would have protected them at least a little bit. But hey, it's part of the fun of the game is making bad designs and then learning that you didn't make a good design. Anyway, this ship is completed now and is ready to go into service. And so let's go ahead and make a few of them because we are at war and see what happens when they go into battle. All right, we're back to the main screen, and to make ships, you can always click on your individual planet and tell them to make ships, but I find much more convivial and much better is to open up the fleet screen and build your fleet by hand. Let's go ahead and start a new fleet, which we will use to attack the enemy guys. You can choose, let me see if I have any. Actually, no freighter, no, I don't actually. So I have no other ships, so we'll have to build all the ships. Let's go ahead and start with a few of my fighters. I'll take some very, very light ships here. Holding shift will allow you to install many copies. Let's go ahead and put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these guys. We also probably want some missile guys as well. So let's go ahead and put 1, 2, 3 of these guys. And then the pièce de résistance. Oops, watch out and make sure that you don't do this. It has a tendency to put ships any old which way. Just hit delete to select the ship and hit delete. And of course my death ball, which I just made. And let's go ahead and make a couple of these guys. And we're going to call that good. At this point here, you want to save the design. And let's call it, attack. And once the design is saved, you can just basically load it, and it will load up the same types of ships, and then you requisition. And since we have no other ships, it says order 12 new ships, and I say build now. What's going to happen now is, for example, this guy here is building at Eddy 1, but this guy here is building at Erath, and this guy here is building at Wellkirk. So the computer will spread out the construction duties reasonably evenly according to how powerful economically your ship is, or rather your planet is, and will construct the fleet. So we're going to come back when my fleet is ready, and then we'll try to have a little battle. Well, the war's not going good. These bad guys have taken over one of my planets, so I thought I'd land some of my own Space Marines on the planet and show you a little bit about ground combat. As I said, I've allowed the computer to take over for me, and it's going to try to defend my planet to the best of its ability. Eventually, these guys are all going to move and try to destroy. There we go. Let's go ahead and speed it up a little bit. And we'll see that basically we have wiped out the... well, actually, no, not yet, because they've taken this over yet. But once we've wiped this out, we basically have taken the planet back. Now, pitch 2 is in mine. Yes, it is. All right. So I've retaken the planet by landing my troops. I just wanted to show you guys that. All right. I had forgotten I'd already put a couple of death balls in my first fleet, so I've gone ahead and set my first fleet in. And while we're watching the eye candy, I think we'll go ahead and give my final comments about the game. As we can see, my death balls here are moving in, and hopefully they will be turning pretty soon. I think they're attempting to stay in formation, but eventually they're going to be turning. Let's hope so anyway. Yeah, lots of pretty explosions. Okay, these little yellow things here indicate that they are running low on ammo, or that they're almost out of ammo, or they're out of ammo in red. And so you can pretty much see at a glance. And also, let's go ahead and hit tab and take a look at how my ship is doing. They seem to be doing pretty good, but this, okay, whatever. All right, I'm going to pause it here, and I'm going to give you my final thoughts on the game. I like the game a lot. It's still in beta for a month, and believe me, there are some rough edges, especially figuring out how to get anomalies, and the whole anomalies are basically like goody huts, and you're going to want to grab them at the beginning of the game if you can get some. However, the whole process in grabbing those goody huts is totally convoluted. It's not good. I'm looking for things really to criticize. There's a few things like it seems like it's in beta, and perhaps things are a little bit unbalanced. But overall, I like the presentation. I like the 3D, fake 3D thing with the light that glints off on this side, but once it rotates, the light's going to glint off the other side. Every bullet is tracked. All damage is locational damage and depends on how you have set up your ship in the first place. Of course, probably the best part of the game is the ship design, but it's not to everybody's taste. But if you do happen to get into that, you'll find it very interesting and I think a lot of fun. The rest of the game is a good mix between depth and ease of use. You can elect to have AI governors manage your colonies if you so desire, and just manage a few core colonies and deal with the things that you want to deal with. I personally think this is a really good game, currently available in beta for the next month on Steam. I paid 25 euros. I think it's a buy myself. If you like 4X games, I think it's a buy. All right, this is Eddie Vegas. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon with more videos and more stuff.